Hello. In this video, we are talking about CS 151 Introduction to the course website, and everything. So this will be like our first 15 minutes showing you stuff that you need to take more time to read. This is our course website. You'll get this in an email for those in the online section of the course. But so if you can remember cs.indstate.edu and then you're in CS 151, that's where this information will be kept. I am Jeff Kinney. I'm the instructor for the online section of the course. I'm a computer science faculty member. Adam Davenport is a graduate student who's teaching section 1, which is the first section of the course, the 9 a.m. section. And Ashwin Murali is a graduate student teaching section 4, which is the 10 o'clock section of the course. And we'll all be coordinating so that we'll be covering the same content roughly at the same pace and using the same assignments. So you can, if you're in any of our sections, you can come to any of us for questions. Okay, so the online section is online. The section 1 is in one of the CS classrooms, and section 2 is in the other CS classroom, both in Root Hall. My normal office hours that I'll be keeping based on my schedule, I'm normally available Monday, Wednesday, noon to 3. And Tuesday, Thursday, 10:30 to noon. So if you're an online student and you happen to be on campus, feel free to stop by. I will also be doing Sunday and Wednesday, 8 to 10 virtual, so online only. So I'll be doing online office hours normally this time. We'll see how that goes, if those are good times. And then also during my regular office hours, I'll be checking the online system as well. Adam and Ashwin, their office hours are listed on the CS homepage. There's a link over here to the CS homepage. And down here is the GA office hours, which if we go to the second week, you can find Adam in there and Ashwin. So that's when they'll be in the Unix lab on campus for their students. And we'll also ask all of the graduate assistants to be logged into the online system as well. So we haven't done that before, trying that out this semester, and we'll see how it goes. So during business hours, if you're an online student, you should be able to get one of these student assistants. Okay, we'll keep basic course announcements here on the homepage when we release new homework assignments or have a date for a quiz and things like that. We'll keep a log right here. Okay. And so let's just we'll go through these links and that'll take us through how the course is going to work. Okay, so we've been through that stuff there. The basic course description, this is the first course in the computer science major. And as a first course in the computer science major, we do things that you need when you're starting out with computer science. The most important is probably programming. So that's going to be the most important goal of the semester, is to get you into programming. We don't assume that you know anything yet, but just that you can basically use a computer. And by the end of the semester, you should be a somewhat capable programmer. Okay. This is a list of learning outcomes that by the end of the semester you should be able to do. You can read through that on your own time. We don't have a required textbook. The textbook that we're going to be followed is free online. You can buy a paper copy if you want to on Amazon. There's a link. Or you can just follow along online. And we're roughly going to go in order. So Chapter 1, Chapter 2 will be the plan. And we'll supplement with other sources of information as well, but that's the main text that we'll be following. I'll skip the syllabus for a second. In-class code, so this is where we'll keep files that you will need. So there's a draft of a homework assignment that's going to change, so I'm not going to click on it right now, but we'll post files that you might need in these directories. There's nothing in that file at the moment either. There is a file here which we'll take a look at the end. Okay, course policies. This are policies that apply to all CS courses. So a few things to point out is what we consider to be plagiarism in computer science. So we try to make these rules in a way that's easy to kind of understand. If you copy electronically, then we consider it plagiarism. So if you're working on an assignment and you're working with somebody else in the class to try and figure things out, and you copy the file to the other person or email it, then that's considered plagiarism. You need to be typing your own code. And that's the same for online. So if we had a homework assignment that was to do a prime number test, let's say that you did this and you clicked on the first thing that came up, and you go ahead and copy this and you're going to save it over somewhere else. So just to keep things simple in this class, you will not ever do that unless explicitly told that you can. Okay? You've been told. So the second point is, if you cannot reproduce what you turned in, then it's not yours. So let's say that you're working together on a problem in a way that's kind of okay. You're working on two different computers in the lab, and you're kind of typing together as you go. But if you can't reproduce that later on your own, then it's not really yours. And you will know that if you're really just typing things in that you don't understand. Okay, so that we consider that plagiarism. You're taking the other person's work. Those are the two biggies. We'll just keep going because this is pretty important. So if you worked, let's say that you work together and you don't cite that person, so you should always cite your sources, and if you get help from somebody, then that's something you need to cite. In this class, it's perfectly fine to go to the lab and ask the student assistants working there to help you out. It's perfectly fine to work on the homework together, but you need to all be citing who you're working with, and it really needs to be your own work. Okay, so if you work in a group to try and figure things out and then you don't mention that in your code, then we'll consider that plagiarism. Attempting to find solutions online without figuring them out, also not okay. If you allow somebody else to copy off of you, then you're just as much at fault. Okay, so things that are okay is working together to try and figure things out. That is perfectly fine. You're not supposed to struggle on your own and never get help. So don't do that. And of course, using the internet to try and find more information is fine, especially about lectures and content and concepts. Okay, so if you violate these policies, you get a 0. If you violate the policies twice, you get an F, and don't do it. You can read through the rest of the course policies. Homework assignments will keep files here. This is going to change a little bit, so we'll just ignore what's there at the moment. Quizzes and test information we'll have here. So in particular, we'll have the date that we're planning on doing the quizzes, and here the date that we're planning on having assignments due. And our estimates for when we'll have exams. We'll have 3 exams. You might want to pause now if you're not paying attention. Take a break, pause, and come back. Okay. Reading assignments we'll list here. So for the first couple days, read through all the stuff on the side, in particular the syllabus, the course policies, and this link here. The next reading assignment will be this link that's getting started with CS courses. So you'll click there and read through and sort of go through that. That'll be part of the first homework assignment. Links and lectures. So the most important links that we're going to be using, this is the text that we're using, Automate the Boring Stuff. This is the link about getting started with CS systems. And other links that you'll need for reading material will be listed here. For the online course, we'll have our video lectures off of this page as well. A lot of this is laid out as the plan of videos for the first week. Try to keep them to 5 to 20 minutes each. So we're almost up, just over halfway on our limit here if we're going to stick to 20 minutes. So if there's a coming soon, then I'm planning on making that video. It's not ready yet. So the video that we're making right now, when it's uploaded, then this will link to that video. Right now it doesn't. This happens to be a video that's already available. Normally the link will go to YouTube, and then there will be some link to something that the video is about. So this one here is about the getting started with files and directories on the system, which you can look at when all these are ready. This one here, it just says all the links on the left is what this video is about. Unix Lab and getting help. So this basically says that if you look at the schedule that was on the CS homepage, people were there to help. So there's a link to find the schedule. If you're a student that's on campus sometimes, you can go and use that. If you're not, then we're going to have those lab assistants paying attention to the online chat system whenever they're on duty, which is basically business hours. And the CS homepage. So there's lots of information off the CS homepage that you can click through, especially if you're a computer science major. All right, so those are all the links. Let's go ahead and take a look at the syllabus. There's links here to down below. We've been through this information. There's no prerequisites for this course. We'll send announcements to your ISU email, and we assume that you check your ISU email at least once per day. So if we send an email that says homework is due tomorrow or homework is due in 2 days, we're assuming that you check your email at least once per day on business days. Classroom conduct doesn't apply to the online section. Online section we're going to do in a second video about what's going to be different for the online section versus the regular section. There's a plan for what we're going to do. we'll see how things go. So up through the first exam, we want to do setting up accounts and using Linux, which we'll need to do, and then the beginning of Python programming. There's our learning outcomes again. Here is our grade formula. So half of the grade is going to be from exams. We'll have 3 exams, and they'll be weighted like this. So the final exam is half of the exam grade, and then the first and second exams are like that. The one extra rule is that if you do better on, let's say, the final, if that's your best exam grade, then we're just going to count that. So if you improve throughout the semester, then we'll just count the later exams. Programs, homeworks, and quizzes is 30%, and we'll just weight those according to the points that are listed. If a homework's listed as 5 points, that's how much it counts against the rest of the programs, homeworks, and quizzes. And then attendance, 20%. In-class attendance is just being there on time. Online attendance we'll talk about when we do the online. Late homework, so for this semester, we're planning on doing a 10% penalty per day that homework is late, and no more than a week late. So the reason that we want to do this is if you get more than a week behind, that can be a real problem in programming class, especially in your first programming class. If you get more than a week behind, it becomes much more likely that you're going to drop out or fail the class or not earn a C, which you need if you're going to move on in the CS major. So starting the homeworks when they're assigned, we'll typically give you half a week to a week notice of a homework assignment, assuming that you're going to start it, and it'll take you a number of times sitting down at the computer to figure things out and let it soak into your brain. So read that. We're expecting that on average, beyond attending class or watching these videos, so beyond that, we're expecting about 4 hours per week of productive work, not just staring at the screen, but productive work. So that's what we're expecting in terms of reading and working on the programs. So for some it'll be less than this, and for some it'll be more, but that's kind of the average. And we'll put here, for anybody that's a CS major, this is your most important class. And it's actually the most important thing. I mean, it should be the most important thing, hopefully, that you're doing right now. Because this is the foundation for everything else in computer science, and you really want to start off strong. If you're really going to be a computer science major, you want to get an A in your first CS course to set you up for the rest. So put in whatever time you need. If you're going to cut corners, try to find somewhere else to do it. Grades will go with the sort of standard breakdowns and see how that looks after the first exam. So after the first exam, we'll put in estimated letter grades, and we'll take this as a starting point, but we reserve the right to give you a higher letter grade than these points if we think we just didn't give you assignments that matched up with these cutoffs. So what the grades are supposed to mean is described here. You can read that. Blackboard will mostly be using just for putting in grades. All the information about the course we're going to keep here. So that'll survive past when you're an ISU student. You could come back and check this information. It's public on the web. Blackboard we'll use just for grades and for the online section for potentially quizzes and exams. There's a mention of the CS course policies, and then there's required stuff that's on every ISU syllabus. Okay, so I think that's about good enough for the first video. There's a lot of information there. So at this point, you're not ready to look at homework assignments because I said they're still being changed, but you can go to your links and lectures and start reading through the Python text and start looking through these first two links here. Okay, that's it.